filming this video on the gloomiest day just makes sense, doesn't it? Hi, hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Rachel. Summer around the corner. I have a ton of books on my summer TBR. Today's video is going to be specifically books that I consider beach reads. For me, what a beach read is, it's gotta be set during the summer and it's gotta be in a location, either on a beach or it's around water or it's tropical, something like that. The only two genres for me that could be like a true beach read are thrillers or rom-coms. And so I thought that I would give you my super long list of all the books on like my beach read TBR. So if you're going on any vacations, any like tropical vacations soon or in the future or this summer, or you're planning on chilling at the beach or whatever and you want to take a book with you, might I recommend any of these? Without further ado, let's get into it. First, my rom-com literary fiction TBR. First book that I have is The Invisible Husband of Frick Island by Colleen Oakley. So this is set on an island, obviously, on a teeny tiny island. I believe it's on the East Coast. And there's this woman who lost her husband at sea. Her husband was a fisherman. However, she still pretends like he's there with her. She still goes about her day as she would if her husband was there, and she like talks to him, and like everyone just like lets her do this and like also pretends like he's still alive. One day a reporter comes into town for a little festival that the island puts on, and he notices this girl, and so he starts to make a podcast about it and tries to figure out exactly who her husband was, why she acts this way. I had started this one. I think I just assumed it was going to be more of a romance, but then it turned more into like a literary fiction, not as much of a romance. And so now that I know what I'm getting into when I go into it, I think I will appreciate it more. So this one. Another book that I don't physically have, it's called Smart Girl Summer by Kristin Rockaway. This book is about this girl named Abby, and she is trying to get her PhD. However, things aren't really working out well for her, so what she decides to do is kind of to go on this self-discovery journey. And how she does that is she gets hired on as a tutor of this billionaire to tutor his daughter, and they are traveling over the summer, so he takes her with them, and as they are traveling doing all of this stuff, feelings start to develop, and it's kind of one of those like single father and like not nanny but like kind of nanny trope. I don't know if it's explicit. I don't know very much about it. All I know is that it has 3.6 stars on Goodreads. It sounds fun. It sounds light. It doesn't sound heavy. And also it's set in like the Mediterranean, so should be very vibey, should have the feels and the aesthetic of the beach. So this one. Another book that I have is Mary Jane by Anya Blau. This book is about this girl named Mary Jane. She comes from a very conservative household, and over one summer she decides to nanny for a family, and this family is very like free, liberal, free people. And so her coming from a conservative background into this home, it's just a big culture shock for her. And so really it's about this summer and her kind of figuring out who she is. I've heard really good things about it, so I am very interested to read it. And also, yeah, I mean, obviously look at the cover. Gives beachy vibes. So the next book that I have is Someone Else's Summer by Rachel Bateman. This is a YA book. I really don't know too much about it. It's about this girl. She lost her sister, I think a year ago. Her sister died in a car accident, and she ends up finding her sister's like summer bucket list. And so she decides to go on this road trip to fulfill this summer bucket list. And a boy that she likes, or some boy ends up going with her, and so it's all about her trying to deal with this grief, but also fulfilling these bucket list items, and then also, you know, developing feelings with a boy. So very much a coming of age story, and also, again, cover gives beach vibes. So we'll see about this one. The next book that I have is called The Summer Job by Lizzy Dent. And it is about this girl who doesn't really know what she's doing with her life, and she ends up taking a job that is actually meant for her best friend. And so she poses as her best friend and goes and takes this job at like this hotel slash winery. And while she's there, she, you know, has relationships and gathers friends and learns to love where she is and where she's at. There's a guy there too that she likes. And so obviously there's like lots of complications because she isn't who she says she is. But yeah, to me, I thought it sounded kind of fun, kind of quirky, perfect for the beach. The next book that I have, I feel like is fairly popular last summer, but I still haven't read it. And it is Every Summer After by Carley Fortune. I believe this is about, I think that this is a second chance romance, and it is about two people who lived next to each other at this like lake, beach, something. They were childhood lovers. Something happened and they didn't talk for forever, and then one summer they come back at the same time and they basically reconnect. I mean, again, very summery. I think that this is an adult romance, so I believe that there is spice in this. I'm interested to see where it goes. Okay. The next book that I have, I think, will also be a very obvious one, but it is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is about a famous family who comes back together to celebrate, I believe, their parents' anniversary or something like that. And so really it's just what they're all dealing with, just a snapshot into this family and what they're going through. Obviously it's set at a beach in Malibu, so very summery vibes. Also, I just love Taylor's writing. I mean, vibes on top of vibes on top of vibes. Like, I'm really excited to read this one. I'll definitely be taking this one to the beach. Next book that I have, I think will be also very obvious. I have read all of her books either on a beach or on a vacation, and so this one should be no different, and it is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I believe this book is about a couple who has broken up or getting divorced. However, every year they go with their group of friends on this vacation, and they don't feel ready to tell their group of friends that they have broken up. So they go on this vacation and they pretend like they are still together. And so it's about them figuring things out. I'm assuming it's like a second chance situation, but I'm not sure. And then the last book that I have on this list is Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. This is a contemporary romance. It is about this girl who goes on a business trip, but I believe it's like somewhere tropical or somewhere, it's more like vacation-y. While she's on this vacation / business trip, her ex, someone that she used to know, is on that trip as well. He is an adrenaline junkie, and a series of unfortunate events happen, and they are thrown together during this series of unfortunate events, and now they have to get out of it. So it is about them. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be light. I'm not expecting anything serious. I'm expecting cheesy. So with that in mind, I think I'll like it. So that's all those books. I am going to add one book that's kind of just out of nowhere. I think it's a nonfiction, but I saw it and I was like, you know what? I want to read that. And you know what? I'm going to talk about it. It is called The Wager, A Tale of Shipwreck, Mutiny, and Murder by David Grann. Actually, it's hard to tell if this is real or not, or if it's like a historical fiction. So it's set during 1742, and this ship is found with, I think, a few people on it. and it's like a super run down ship, and it's one that apparently had been lost at sea. And so when people find it, when it comes back and it's in this condition, they take in these people and they're like seen as heroes, and it's like so happy and exciting that they're back and that they survived. And these people tell this tale of like all the things that they went through. Turns out murder, mutiny, different things like that happen. Because I think like after a little while, the rest of the crew shows up. I think that's how it goes. It sounds crazy. It sounds very intense. Obviously, like it's ocean, so it gives me beach, ocean vibes, but it just sounds really fascinating to me. So I want to get this one. I want to read it at some point. I may listen to it. It kind of depends. Because this one might be a really good one to listen to. So we'll see, but I definitely want to read that one. Okay, so that is all of my contemporary romance ones. This random one. Now let's get into my summer thrillers. The first one that I think I want to read is Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. I have never read a Rachel Hawkins thriller, and so I really want to try her out. This one specifically is about this couple who owns a boat, and they sail. I think that they just sail people around on it. Like, I think that that's partly how they make money. And so these couple of girls ask them if they can sail them to this other like remote island for them, and that they'll pay them. And so they're like, okay, yeah, sure. So they go, and once they get there, they find this group of very rich people on this island, and things happen, and I'm assuming that people die or weird things happen. And like, these girls aren't who they seem to be, and these people who are here aren't who they seem to be. Set in a very tropical area. I mean, they're sailing, all of this stuff, so just seems very summer vibes. Next book that is on my list is probably one maybe that you've seen. I have seen the commercial for this. I've been influenced. They got me. And it is Saint X by Alexis Schaitkin. I don't know how to say it. It is about this fairly affluent family who goes on a tropical vacation together, and while they're there, one of the young girls, like teenage girls, goes missing and shows up dead. And the locals there rule it an accidental death / suicide, something like that. This girl's younger sister, I think, is like 7 or 8 when this happens, and many years later, when she's older, she goes back and she wants to discover and figure out what actually happened to her sister. I'm very curious based off of the Hulu series that's going to be coming out. The next one that I have is A Bend of Light by Joy Jordan Lake. It's these 2 women, I believe, who are just chilling, trying to make a life for themselves on this island or on the coast, on this coastal town, and it ends up they find this kid who was abandoned with like a strange note, and then a socialite ends up dead, and there's like all these really weird things that like are happening. And one of the main characters, I think Chitty is she's trained because she was in the war, she's like trained to be able to detect clues and like patterns and see what's going on, and so they came up to try and figure out what the heck is going on in their quiet coastal village. And I feel like I described that really bad. It got 4.06 stars on Goodreads. So even though I described it horribly, give it a shot. Check it out. The next book that I have is another one I think is fairly popular, but I feel like would work on a beach, is The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. This one is about this couple who moves to like their perfect house, and I believe it's either like in Scotland or Ireland, and it's on the edge of these cliffs. A woman is found dead at the bottom of these cliffs, like right after they move there. At first, it's just seen as an accident or suicide because a lot of people jump off of these cliffs, apparently. However, the wife finds out that her husband actually knew this woman, and so she starts to like question what is going on, who her husband really is, and if maybe there's more nefarious things at play. Sounds interesting. I've heard good things about it, so I want to give it a shot. The next book is called The Cove by L.J. Ross. It is a summer suspense mystery novel. It's the first one. It's basically about this girl who lives in London, and she was actually one of the victims of this serial killer called like the Underground Killer. He kidnapped her, took her to his spot that he usually takes his victims to kill them. Something happens to where she is able to escape. So it's like after that, and she's dealing with the trauma of that is where the story starts, and she decides to go on a vacation, or she moves to this quiet coastal town called, I believe, the Cove. However, problems follow her there. I guess it's got humor in it, romance, so it's supposed to be more of like a cozy mystery. So keep that in mind. It sounds like it could be fun. I feel like cozy mysteries are usually set like during the fall time or the winter time, and so when I saw a summer one, I was like, ooh, let's try this out. The last one that I have that I want to check out, it is Something in the Water by Catherine Steadman. There is this woman, she is a filmmaker, and while she is making one of her films, she meets this man. I think he's like a billionaire. He's like a billionaire, has lots of money, and they end up going on this whirlwind affair to Bora Bora. And while they are at Bora Bora, they find something in the water. I don't know what it is, but apparently it's like a big, secret, scary things. I think it's like them figuring out like what's the right thing to do versus what they should do to like protect themselves, or like what's like the more selfish thing to do. I feel like I'm not describing these very well. This is the description. Pause if you want to. I'm assuming it's very atmospheric. It's another Reese Witherspoon book club pick. If I know anything about Reese and her choices of thrillers, she loves an atmospheric thriller. And like all the thrillers of hers, the setting has played a huge role in the plot itself. It's almost like its own separate character. Definitely want to read this one, especially since it is set in a very tropical location. I think it would be perfect for the beach. And that is my full list. I feel like I just rapid fired through those. I'm excited to read them, excited to try them out and see how I feel about them. I love the idea of like summery thrillers. I feel like I don't see too many of them. Let me know if you add any of these to your TBR, or if you've read any of them. Let me know if you like them. Or if you have any really good beach reads, let me know, especially those summer thrillers. I am just in a mood. With that, thank you so much for watching. Again, I feel like I've just been gaining more and more subscribers, so like welcome to everyone who is here. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you all again soon. Bye!